How you doing this morning, Matt?
I'm doing good. Hanging out on Neely, Henry. Kind of fun to be home. It's going to be kind of cool to share about 35 years of knowledge with this little technique that this is my life. I mean, this is what I've always done. And it's just a whole lot more to it than just going down the bank flipping a jig. It's little subtle things that are different than pay dirt and not.
All right. Well, we're getting some good audio checks. Appreciate that, guys. Just like we did last week with Wes, we're going to be randomly picking some folks out of the comments today. And this week we have got a bunch of stuff to give away. I know Reaction Innovation has hooked us up with a bunch of stuff. Dirty Jig from Matt.
We're going to give away a little gift pack of my signature series jigs. We're going to give away a little gift pack of Hayabusa hooks. And then I think Bassboat Concepts last night kicked in, and they're going to give some lucky viewer today a step ladder for their boat trailer.
All right. So what we're going to be doing, we need you to drop the comments, ask your questions. We're going to start off with a little seminar. Matt's going to talk to us about flipping jigs, and we'll take some questions, but y'all, I'd love to know where you're watching from. I'm already seeing questions on where are you on Neely, Henry? So we knew that was going to happen.
You know, Neely Henry's kind of messed up right now. We had all those big storms Sunday, and got a ton of rain up at Weiss, and all the upper end is just flooded. You get above gas and this blew out, yet you get down below Minnesota Bend and it's about 5 foot low. So it kind of forces us to hang right here in the middle. So we're somewhere between City Ramp and Minnesota Bend. So, there it is. It's about a 2-mile stretch of river. But the big reason is it wouldn't matter whether I was at Neely Henry, whether I was at Weiss, or what river system I was on. I like to stay where the water is as stable as possible. A little bit high is not too bad. Blowed out into the middle of the forest where you can't get to them is awful. And get on the other end where the fish were up shallow spawning and they've dropped it 5 foot. It's a nightmare. So I try to stay where the water is the most stable. So that's right here.
All right. Well, we got Eddie from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I don't think he's going to come out here to Neely Henry at least anytime soon.
Bassmaster Open. It'd be totally different then, but yeah, they're coming.
All right. Well, we got 20 or so folks jumping in here, so why don't we go ahead and get rolling with what you want to teach us?
Well, as you can see on the video shot behind me here, this is just a standard little river pocket. These fish coming here to spawn. We're up here in the river portions of it. And when I break one of these pockets down, you can tell by looking at this basic pocket that once upon a time there was a creek channel or some kind of a channel swing that run that little bank right here and got a little more depth on it. And then you can see on the other side we got all the shallow primrose grass and stuff. So it's kind of the flatter side. And anytime the water, my first instinct when the water's going up and down is to kind of stay where the fish can go up and down with it on the vertical side. I'll check there first, and then we'll move over to the flatter side. This is going to be all about getting a bite and then developing a pattern. The big thing about flipping and pitching is about patterns. Very seldom are you going to find a place where you can just sit there and make one cast and catch them and catch them and catch them. It's not going to happen unless you're fishing deep grass like milfoil, hydrilla. So you're looking for something that you can develop a pattern on, whether it's a pocket, with a certain place in a pocket, maybe out on the river, whatever. But that is the deal with flipping and pitching. So we're going to try to break these pockets. We got 2 or 3 little key pockets here we're going to try to break down. And let's see where they're at, where they're positioned in them, and then what are they on. We got a cold front. The water temperature was 70 degrees last week. And now all of a sudden this morning, it's anywhere from 58 to 61. It's a major system shock. We've had fish that were spawning, had spawned, had fry garters, and then we got fish that have not spawned. So it's got to have everything kind of changed up. And we're going to have to figure out, are they aggressive enough to bite a jig? Or are we going to have to finesse them a little more and go to soft plastic? And We'll play with lure weights. We're gonna play with line size. Just different kind of action. Some baits are gonna have an action and slow the fall. Some baits won't. And just put it all together and try to figure out what the pattern for today is. Let's go fishing. You know, I'm gonna start off. I don't care where I go in the country. Black and blue tensile jig. That's just my deal. I got a spicy beaver on here for a trailer, and it's got a little kick to it. We're gonna start off with that. Start fishing this pitch in this wood, these undercut banks. Try to figure out where they're positioned. We don't do anything there. I've got several soft plastic baits rigged up. Let's see what's gonna happen. You know, my first instinct going up to this bank is I'm looking at my Humminbird electronics, and I always pay attention in these pockets to my electronics. I like to use my 360. I can pinpoint isolated wood out off of these banks. This river's kind of got some age on it now, so a lot of the key covers kind of broke off and is not connected to the bank. But also by paying attention to the surface temp, 61.3, and then paying attention to the depth, I can figure out how deep, what type bank, what type bottom. I can tell by the readout on my unit now that this is a fairly hard bottom. I'm not getting any clutter, any muck. So that's a really good thing this time of year. See how clean the readout is. It's a good hard bottom. That's just something I really, really like this time of year. But the big thing is after this cold front, some guys, you know, if I were practicing for a major tournament and I was going to cover a lot of water, I would come in here and hit just key little stretches. But today, with the conditions of the river and everything's kind of messed up, we're on a limited time deal as far as we got 2 hours on live. We're going to do this. We're really going to try to break it down in certain areas, and we're going to try to pick it apart. And basically, this is our playground to figure out what we got to do to make them bite. You know, I spend a lot of time flipping and pitching, and I watch a lot of people flip and pitch. And the biggest thing that I've noticed over the years doing this is folks want to get laid out, and I hear it all the time. Man, it kills my elbow, it kills my back. And they want to help it. They want to pick the rod up with their arm. Once I really get to going, I will never put this bait in my hand. I'll swap. I'm not one of these guys that's left-handed. I wish I was. I can flip and pitch left-handed if I need to. But I try to let the momentum pendulum this bait back. And just kind of stand up tall and then keep the pressure off your arm and your back. I've been doing this for, since 1985 or so. I've been fortunate. I haven't had any elbow trouble, back problems. I think a lot of it was understanding the technique and getting it.
So we're getting some questions that are, I think, all related to the setup. Okay. So you want to go through your rod and reel and line and...
Yeah, you know, I've been fishing pistol rods since 2003 or so, long time. And it's all phenomenal stuff. They've got all different kind of series, lineup of rods. We got this is the top end right here. This is the Cadillac of our models. This is a Z-Bone. This is 7.6, 5 power. It's a 765. This is my favorite go-to rod. I use, when I'm fishing with braid, I use a little bit softer action rod with braided line, simply because I think, you know, you don't have the stretch and the give, and I'll either use a KLX or a Helium with those. I actually have one KLX 711 laid out for if I see any maps or whatever, any kind of real thick stuff. standard issue, I like a 7-to-1, 8-to-1 type gear ratio. And fishing in this scenario, 16 to 20 pound fluorocarbon is my standard go-to. You know, one of the things that I will give people a tip on, and I think is more important, is you need to match. You know, everybody will tell you about setting your rod, line, combo, all that up. But you need to take into consideration when you're choosing an action rod or a rod for you, you need to think about how you set the hook, number one. Are you a guy that likes to leave a lot of slack in the line and jerk to the moon and back? Are you a guy that'll reel down and get the slack out and set the hook? Those are all important questions, but to me, the most important question when I'm trying to figure out what type rod I want is what type line. Is it fluorocarbon, mono, braid, and then the hook. You can't use a medium heavy rod with an EWG or a braided line super hook. It just don't work out. You run into all kind of problems with that setup because you don't have enough backbone in the rod to penetrate the fish with that hook. You know, the other question you need to ask, am I going to be fishing jigs or am I going to be fishing soft plastic? If you're trying to pull a super line hook through a beaver style or a real thick, tight bait, creature bait, you know, you need more backbone. If you're just throwing a lizard or a trick worm on a lighter line with just a normal worm style hook, you know, a medium heavy is probably going to be more comfortable to fish with all day and will do fine. So there's a lot of questions that go in there, and that's one of the great things about Kistler is, you know, they're all made right here in the United States, Magnolia, Texas. They got all kind of different price pointed rods, and then they also you've got the ability with them being a manufacturer here in the U.S. and them building the rods in Texas, that you could get online and you have the ability to actually order what you want. You can have custom built rods still at Kistler, so it's a great thing to be able to use. They're one of the few rod companies left that's almost like a custom rod company. Got any more questions there, Bob?
Can't quite make out his name, but somebody asked if you teach us how to do the scoot.
Oh, that's dirty right there.
I believe the same guy mentioned something about get out of my hole earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I think Josh, I think is his name.
Yeah, that would probably be myself.
All right, so
yeah, he's taken several epic tail whoopings with the scoot.
Gotcha. What do you get when swimming a jig? Do you use mono, braid, or fluoro?
You know, even like you'll notice today, and I do it subconsciously. Even when I'm flipping, I do swim somewhat. These real shallow banks, like in here, a lot of times these fish, especially this time of year, are garden fry. And you know, if you make a real soft presentation, sneak it in there, you know, you get those reaction bites. And I like to pitch a bait in there a lot of times, and I'll alternate. Sometimes I'll pitch straight in, let it go straight to the bottom, and then sometimes what that question was about doing the scoot, I'll literally kind of pump that thing and swim it and make a fish react to it. You'll see the fish bite it. So it's just the stuff that I've developed with my technique over the years that has really paid dividends, especially in real shallow water. But yeah, you can, you know, when I'm swimming a jig, predominantly I'm swimming somewhere between 30 and 65 pound braid, depending on what part of the country I'm in and what style swimming it is. And even when I'm flipping and pitching like today, I'm using, this is 20 pound gamma fluorocarbon, And I'm using, you know, I will swim this bait. That's kind of that little move right there is kind of the scoop scoop, as he called it. But it's amazing how many fish you can get to react to this bait.
Well, guys, for those of you that have just joined us, we are out here on Neely Henry with Matt Herren. Learning some stuff about flipping jigs, see if we can find a couple fish today. Please share this feed and give us some likes just to help support us, and let's let some other folks know we're out here hanging out on the water. The other thing is drop some comments in, questions, whatever you got. That's going to enter you in. We're going to be picking, I think, probably 6 or so people to win. We got a bunch of great stuff to give away. I saw Dano made a comment in there on all the stuff we're giving away. It's almost too much to really throw out right here, but we appreciate you joining. We'll try to get the questions out there. All right, what gear ratio for your flipping reel?
Somewhere between the 7-to-1 and 8-to-1. You got to be careful when you go up to the higher end, to the higher gear ratio reels. I've used some of them that when you get up in there in that 8-to-1, some manufacturers do really well with that gear ratio. Some of them will literally start trying to bind up. I don't know what it is, but you know, what's amazing is back years ago when I learned how to flip the pitch, we were flipping 5, 7-to-1. I mean, that's all we had. So now that we got all this other high-tech stuff, we've all gone up to higher gear ratio reels, but it's all about the same principle. Years ago, Stanley Rod, or All-Star Rods made a rod. It's called a Stanley jig rod. It was a 610 telescopic rod, and probably one of the most enjoyable rods to fish with that I'd ever fished with at that time. But in the spring of the year, in the same scenario we're fishing right now, I kind of learned valuable lessons about rod length and rod action. What wound up happening is you get these fish, especially if they're really, really shallow, and they hit a bait, what I call on a fly. When you pitch it in there and that filter picks it up, it boils and gone. That 610 rod, if he moves at you, you're in trouble. And the big reason is same reason as the gear ratio in the reel. The faster the gear ratio, the more line you pick up. The longer the rod, the more line you can take up when that fish moves shallow. So I just kind of taught myself over the years just to use a 7.6 regardless. We just had to fish more like jig. He did not get it.
All right, well, I got a couple of questions that I think are both similar. All right, when you pull into a pocket with the intention of pitching and flipping, what's the first thing that normally catches your eye? And then I think related to that would be when you're fishing an area, a cove, where do you start, in the very back or at the mouth?
You know, that's a good question. A lot of people come in here into a pocket, first thing they're looking at is cover. They're looking at, is it grass, is it wood, what's the best looking bank? And that, I kind of broke it down when we come in here, what I'm keying on. I'm looking at what's under the water. These fish relate to channel swings, they relate to undercut banks, just they're highways, and that's how they travel. And I'm looking more at what's on the bottom. I use my sonar. You wouldn't think at 3 foot of water, 2 foot of water, the guy would use a sonar. And I use sonar a lot. So, I mean, I know by looking at this bank behind us that it's just dirt shallow. Not to say that there's not fish there. But there's still going to be more fish around these channel swings. These under, you know, that's how they travel. It'll take me a second. I went from a 3/8 ounce jig to an 1/8 ounce man bear pig.
All right, if you were practicing for a tournament on this lake, would you go back down the bank with a different presentation, or would you automatically mark the spot off?
You know, just like right now, I've not been here. And I'm literally trying to figure out what they're doing right now. So just because I went down a stretcher bank, and maybe I changed bait selection, started getting bites or whatever, you're trying to figure out what the pattern is more than anything. Let's say I went down through here with a jig all the way down, and I didn't get a bite, and all of a sudden I turn around and somewhere on the other side of whatever, I figured out that they were on soft plastic bait. You just gotta flow with it. I mean, the higher percentage banks in all these spawning pockets, you just gotta go through piece by piece and unlock the middle of the puzzle of the day. Today's gonna be about as tough a day as you can fish. This afternoon, it warms up, it ought to get better. Last night here, we had frost all over everything. And this was after the surface temp was 70 degrees and we had post-spawn fish.
I see a comment about the video being frozen. Is anybody else having issues with that? Somebody could just give us a quick comment that we're good. How muddy would you describe the water is here on Neely today?
It's just got a heavy stain. It's plenty fishable. It's in good shape. You know, the big thing right now is the area we're in, the water's probably 8 to 10 inches high. That's the reason why I come to the steep side first, is trying to see if the fish, I could keep them in front of me, they could go up and down on the vertical bank. Over here, you see they can get out, you get behind you, get in the woods, and they may have done that, but it's a small enough area, we can kind of bounce around and figure it out.
So we got some questions about how'd you choose which end of the lake to come to today?
Just by the conditions of what we had happen. You know, Sunday we had 5 to 6 inches of rain here up north, up toward Weiss. And the upper river here today, once you get north of Gadsden, it's about over the boat docks. I mean, it's high. And with the conditions that we had, cold front and everything else, I don't want to get in an area where the fish can get out, get the woods on me. And then the lower end of the lake, because of this Minnesota bend down here, it's literally 5 feet below summer pool. So I just picked an area of the lake where the water stayed halfway stable. That's the reason why we're at today, not necessarily because it's a better area than others or anything else. It's just the water height and whatever has been more stable for a longer period of time. You know, honestly, we was gonna do a flipping and pitching video today. If I would have been tournament fishing today, fishing a tournament this morning, I would have started off fishing for spotted bass. Just because they're more current oriented. And they've been a little more ready to bite than these largemouth. These largemouth, they're kind of shocked right now. They've got cold. I don't know what the barometric pressure is, but I'm quite sure it's pretty high. Oh, they ain't biting, Bobo. Man, I'm gonna run the big bird off his fishing hole.
Is he hanging out back there? All right. Trying to look through. I appreciate everybody giving us the feedback. Looks like we are just getting a little bit of intermittent freezing. So write the phone companies and see about getting our 5G up here in Gadsden soon, so we can have a good feed for this.
I'm literally right now trying to cycle through smorgasbord of baits. They all got different size tungsten weights. A couple of rods are set up at 20, a couple of rods are set up at 16. It's all different kind of fall rates. And I'm literally trying
So what did you just pick up?
You know, I went to the classic standard old 4-inch tube. It's kind of a bait that'll get a bite. That's all you're after most of the time. If I can get a bite or two, and that's the whole deal, when you can get 1 or 2 bites, you start dialing into where they're positioned, and then you can start quickly start unraveling the puzzle for the day. But it's always about that first bite or two to get them to show you what's going on.
Well, along those lines, we just had a question of, do you run down a bank flipping fast till you catch one, then slow down, or?
Depends on the day. Depends on this. It's all about the conditions. Today, no.
You got a favorite or preferred go-to tube color?
I only carry 2 tube colors. I carry green pumpkin, black and red. That's it.
I guess you don't really need a favorite when you're only carrying 2 colors.
I'll show you all my boxes of what the plastic I actually carry in a minute. And you'll probably be dumbfounded because I only carry 8 colors max. One of the things that I truly believe is it's not bait, it's zip code. I think there's a multitude of baits that you can catch them on if you're around them. If you're not around them, I don't care what you do, you ain't gonna catch them. I've kind of had this happen in tournament scenarios so many times that you get in an area and you'll think, man, if you ain't throwing a black and blue jig or sapphire blue chunk, there's no way you're gonna catch it. And then these big tournaments that I fish, you'll go through the day and you'll start seeing all your competition, and they'll be around you and they'll be throwing green pumpkin and watermelon red. Everybody gets to the weigh-in and everybody's got it. It wasn't, you start figuring it out, it wasn't what you were throwing, it's just you was around fish. I'm cheating. I picked up a little my signature series jig. Got this old scattered primrose grass. See if we can talk one into coming up eating one swing. That's one of the big things I like about this jig is the versatility of it. It swims good, it flips good, it's just
Well, since you switched to the jig, let's talk about that. What color jigs do you alternate between?
You know, I typically carry about 5 or 6 color jigs. Black, blue, pencil, brown, green pumpkin, and white. I mean, there'll be some kind of variations in there between them. It's pretty standard stuff. I am not a complicated fisherman.
I've kind of picked that up since I've spent a little time around you.
I just think that a guy can sit down there and spend too much time in the bottom of the boat tying baits on when he could be standing up fishing. Sometimes you can make a key bait change and it makes a difference. You can make all the difference in the world. As long as you got something green pump and something black blue, black red tied on, you got the basics covered. You just need to figure out where they're at, what the pattern for the day is. Kind of.
I'm kind of curious on this question. How far do you work your bait back to the boat before you reel it back in?
Just depends on the type cover I'm fishing. If I'm fishing key pieces of wood, I'll fish it all the way to the end of the wood. If I'm fishing a grass edge, I typically go a foot or two outside the grass edge. And then you also got to figure out what you think the pattern is. You think these fish are laying up under those mats, then why do you want us to waste time working back to the boat? We're going to swap rods here.
All right. Kind of give you guys an idea of what we're looking at.
I'm going to go to this is a 7 foot 11 inch KLX.
What do you have tied on?
That's just a reaction to Bassmaster beaver. 1 ounce weight. See if we can get some. When it gets cold, the way it has been, these mats, the sun gets up there and starts beating down on the top of these matted grass. And it'll get substantially warmer, and those fish will ease up under that grass and put the back up against it.
Did you say that was a 1 ounce?
Yeah.
There you go, Chet. 1 ounce.
1 ounce tungsten weight. I'll go up to 1.5 ounces sometimes, but I would prefer not to go any heavier than that. It just start getting into problems actually landing the fish when you get heavier than 1.5 ounces. That big weight is it's hard to get them hooked up without knocking their mouth open. The thing is such big weight when it slips out.
Well, guys, appreciate all you hanging out with us. Appreciate all the questions, comments. Make sure, for those that aren't dropping the comments, throw something in there so you get entered in to win some good stuff.
And we got some heck of prizes.
Maybe at some point here, Dano can drop a little comment again on what all we're giving away. Reaction Innovation, Dirty Jigs, Hayabusa.
Yeah, Hayabusa hooks.
Hayabusa hooks. How about this? Drop a comment on what you're at home doing right now. I'm guessing Neil Harris is probably sitting at home working if he's still watching with us.
Oh, Neil watching?
He was on here earlier. We're blessed here in Alabama that we can still get out on the water. I know some of you don't have those same privileges. World's a little crazy right now, but doing what we can. All right, when targeting docks, where's your first presentation?
Depends on the time of the year. You know, it just... Docks break down different by seasons. More so than any piece of cover. I mean, it's just... To me, there's only about... You got the walkway, from the walkway to the bank is money. All four corners of the dock's money. Where the walkway actually hits the back of the boathouse is money. And then anywhere you got shade. I mean, it just depends on the time of the year and what fish are doing. I mean, that's really the answer. And it's hard to give just one answer.
Are you peg your weights or no?
You know, I don't. Not if I'm fishing wood. As a general rule, unless I'm trying to penetrate cover, I do not peg my weight. I just think it's that weight running down the line. It's a freer fall. It gives it a more natural fall, and I would rather not peg unless I have to.
All right. Gabe says he's watching while doing schoolwork.
Yeah, hey.
Hey, I hope you're learning something. Oh, you want to see if we can help him out with math or
Nah.
history questions? No? All right. We'll get back to fishing. Do you have a favorite lake?
Yeah. My absolute favorite is probably Champlain.
Champlain.
I love this old river right here, but it's 110 degrees in Alabama in the shade. You can go up north. Those fish up there only get fished for about 3 or 4 months a year. It's 75 for a high. It's an unbelievable place. God, dog. Y'all seen? I just had one chase my bait out. Rice. Bite was on the flat side. And that bite was not on the bottom.
All right, we got to tell Matt Eddie Cook is waiting on the 5-pounder.
There we go. I'm working on it, Eddie. I need a willing 5-pounder to come play and we'll get him.
A lot of you guys are at work. That's awesome.
I wish I was at work. Social distancing is kind of killing the tournament, dude.
I think a lot of folks would agree with you. Watching fishing on TV and on Facebook, hanging out with us. Well, we appreciate that.
He's watching fishing on TV and see an addiction counselor. But he got it bad.
All right, here's a question. If this wasn't during cold front conditions, would you consider frogging this cover since the water's high?
Absolutely. And it would probably still work right now.
Gabe says he's working on microeconomics, so any help would be great. I think we'll stick with fishing.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a good one. Most memorable fish catch as an elite pro.
That would have to be. If it was during a tournament, it would probably. There's two of them, and they both happened on the St. Johns River. One of them was actually this year. I had one close to 9 pounds. I caught on a devil horse about 1 o'clock in the day, and anytime you get something that big come up in the top of the it's just exciting. And then the other one, I caught one off the bed at St. John's and almost weighed 10. That fish gave a heck of a bite. There's just been so many that it's hard to remember them all. They start running together after a while. Swimming the old spicy beaver by itself. Trying to get these fish to show me what they want to do. What they want to do is somebody turn the heat on, warm this water back up close to 70, and then they'll come out and play. Right now we're still looking at barely 61 degrees. That was about a 6-pound bass, and I threw it way past. That fish don't bite. Can you believe it? Look at it. See his tail come out of it?
Oh yeah.
There's a flipping fish on the bed, Dano. Shows you, you just don't know with these fishing, you just don't know. We got a cold front. We got everything going on here. thing. Creature bait.
So did have a question on how long do you give trying to work a fish on the bed?
Big thing is, right now I'm trying to figure out, these fish act like they're literally just trying to go on. It could be, I mean, I don't know, every situation is different. This fish is biting. Oh,
Well, guys, I think you're getting a pretty good answer on working a bed fish.
Hit it again.
Guys, I wish I could zoom in and have a polarizer on this.
Yeah, well, what would we do with that? Back before I had talent. Wish y'all could see this. Every time I pull that jig in there, she's turning on it, popping. No, you don't want it. Too much of it, man.
Maybe she's camera shy.
No, she ain't camera shy. She's just laying up there. And these fish are this shallow. When this fish is laying up there in full water, they are hard to deal with. Wow, she knocks it.
Stubborn.
What prepared for sight fishing? There's a lot better stuff Why don't you eat? You rolling on it, don't want it near you.
Oh, Justin Kimmel, I think you're trying to get me in trouble.
What's he doing?
Justin Kimmel said I need to get you a cookie.
Let Justin behave. Fish is still laying up there, but they mud. There's another one come in there and it muddies the bed, trying to run the other off.
Can you guys see that on camera? I see the mud spot that just popped up.
something for her. Strategy change here. We're gonna side fish and get something to get. What's that, dude? Might be under Michael's stuff. There they are. We're gonna get the old pocket rocket out. Y'all have to excuse me, I've lost my mind. That sucker's made me mad.
Well, I think everybody's waiting. They're not going anywhere.
Oh, this is fence is killing.
So what are you tying on?
This is just a little 4 or 5 pocket rock. Stick bait. You know, these river fish are really funny.
Hey, Alan, we're a little further down river than where we were with Wes. We just had a question in here about where we are.
Yeah, we're right here in front of it.
Why do they call it a pocket rocket?
You have to ask your actual place.
Justin, I think you're trying to get me in trouble. I'm gonna have to screen some of these questions Justin Kimmel's dropping in here.
What did Justin want to say?
I don't know. Justin, you stuck at home? And Eddie Cook wants to know if you can tell the difference between a carp and a bass.
Oh, yeah. One's mouth pointed down and one's mouth pointed up. All it is cold night. It's got them all cleaned up. This fish don't want to react to anything but that jig. She does not want that jig. And that's the whole deal when you're trying to work these fish on the bed. What will they react to? Some of them like big stuff, some of them you gotta finesse. This old fish, she just that fish bigger than I thought it was. That fish about 5 pounds. Made me angry. What? I thought I was hung up. There's a stick in there. That son of a gun had it. ain't that big. She ain't that big. Oh!
That's how you do it, folks.
It took a minute. You know, but every one of these fish is different. We put her back. She go back making babies. So that's sight fishing deal, just like flipping and pitching. You got to be a little versatile with your baits. Don't get locked into one thing. And just keep cycling until you figure it out. You know. And, when I first saw that fish, there's two more up there. I haven't seen them again. When I first saw her, she wouldn't react to anything with that jig, and all I did was make her mad with the jig. And that's, you know, that's another lesson, another time about sight fishing. That's the whole deal. Is just every fish is its own little deal. But the pocket rocket is deadly on it. Let's go back to this. Should have quit while she was ahead. I heard it cook. That was a bass. That wasn't no carp. It's really kind of shocking. You think about what? Huh?
Canterbury said he'd have caught it about 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah, Canterbury's full of poo-poo.
So we did have a question about how long you're going to work a fish on a bed. You know, obviously we're out here just for fun. And she made you mad, but in a tournament scenario,
I knew right off that fish was catchable. The first pitch I made on that fish, I knew that fish was catchable. But that fish, you don't realize that fish was probably that deep, and she was very spooky. And the big thing is trying to figure out. You know, we've all heard the deal about there's little bitty spots. Well, that fish there, when I first pitched up there, she left, but she come right back. And I knew she was guarding something. And it was just a matter of breaking it down. And she's up there so shallow, she could see me. I mean, I'm sitting 20 yards from her making long pitches. And she can see me. And I finally just had to keep easing around. I find out exactly where she didn't want me to touch. When I touched it, she said, "No, you're not." I should have caught her 20 minutes earlier. I should have caught her the first time. When she got it, she turned at me, and that's a bad deal. When a fish that shallow gets a bait to looking at you, facing you, and you set the hook, it's hard to stick. When I caught the fish, I kind of knew what the deal was. She done showed me, so when she got it this time, I just held pressure on her, and basically when I put pressure on her, she turned for me. When she turned, it was over.
what color was that pocket rocket?
Probably my favorite color in the world of every bait we got. Tramp stamp.
Was it a 4.5 or a 5.5?
4.5 rocket tramp stamp. Look, my favorite color soft plastic is tramps. We call it tramp stamp. Everybody in the industry, I guess, has gone to making that color. But it was black and blue on one side, green pumpkin on the other. And it's the two favorite colors of a bass. I mean, there are no better colors than black and blue or green pumpkin. My camera guy, he's back over there. He's going to check the fish out now. You got to watch it. Look at it. He done got his side fishing glasses out. He's going back over there checking. Don't be
Well, there you go, Jamie Collette. If you're still watching, he made a comment earlier about he was going to be fishing this area on Saturday, but maybe that helps you out.
It'll all be different. I mean, the river's just jacked up right now. I could teach anybody anything that. What are you doing? She back over?
I was just going to see if she went back.
I probably did. If I could teach anybody anything about river fishing, is whenever you have major fluctuations and changes in a river, try to fish the section of the river that's the most stable. If one end's been very, very low, stay on that end. If it's still low, if one end's been, but just stay where it's been stable.
Got a question on how often will a fish bite again after hooking them and missing them on bed? We gonna turn this into a bedfish lesson?
You know, it just depends on the fish. Some of them are out of their mind. I mean, there's a point, there's a 4 or 5 hour window in there, and they're really guarding. They'll bite. I mean, I've literally, one fish that I'll never forget was down at Eufaula, Alabama. It was on a stump. Big old stump, probably half big from this boat. I caught that fish 3 times in 30 minutes. And the only reason why I kept catching her was I kept thinking, no, he can't go back over there again. No way. And he did. I turned him loose, he'd swim right back over there, get right back on the bed, and I'd pitch over and he'd bite again. Reading these bedfish just like that one right there, there are no 2 bedfish at the bottom. Just like there ain't no 2 girlfriends. They're all different. Some of them want you to take them out to dinner and movies, some of them want to stay home. You just got to figure it out. The big thing is that they'll all, if they're catchable, after you've seen enough of them, I could tell you by the way they were looking over their shoulder when they left, if they were coming back. They kind of give you that look like there's something over there that they don't want you near. You just, after you've seen it as many times as I've seen it, it's like, you coming back. I catch you.
All right, we got a question about favorite bait to target smallmouth.
Rocket on the mid head's unbelievable. Probably my favorite for smallmouth is a bait we got at Reaction called a shiver shot. It's a kind of a goby / shiner imitation bait that smallmouth, especially up on the Great Lakes, they can't stand it. And they absolutely love the bait.
What are your top 3 baits on this lake for this time of year?
My signature series jig and 3/8 ounce. Something black and blue or green pumpkin. Reaction Innovations beaver, whether it's a spicy beaver or a sweet beaver. And then there's times of year like this time of year that, you know, back at when Ned was a pup, we throwed a lizard. Lizard's still a deadly bait, but now we got preacher style baits like a man bear pig. I had one of them tied on. It's right there. You can see it on the end of the rod. This bait right here, when the fish are in the spawning mode, is absolutely deadly. That's called a man bear pig. I like to rig it up with an 1/8 to a 3/16 ounce weight unpegged, and it's just a real subtle bait that these fish are either garden fry or spawning. They can't stand. That's kind of my go-tos. I mean, it's not complicated. As you can see, it's either black and blue, green pumpkin, or, you know. If I want to spice it up some, I put either some chartreuse dye or some orange dye on it. It's not what you're throwing, guys. It's zip code. Where are the fish? We're gonna come out of here and go right around the corner here.
All right. Well, Jeremy, thanks for asking the question, how do you win stuff? For those that are joining in, just commenting, would love for you to share this feed. We're going to go for about another 45 minutes or so, 11:15 now.
We're gonna haul out down here.
But you are entered for commenting. We will pick at random when we get done.
That bridge is gonna be a dead giveaway.
I can accidentally drop the camera for a couple minutes.
The river was low with these beaver down now. You can't get in it. Can't believe that fish playing around me. Don't. Well, I'll tell you, used 2 years ago when I was a kid, we could get in and out of these things. High water, this is probably the best thing ever. Kind of living in the world.
Yeah, I think Justin Kimball's definitely trying to get me in trouble. Oh, he asked, did they name the man bear pig after you?
No, you have to on the first back react.
I'm gonna leave that other comment alone, Justin. Was that what that was? What else you got on the boat? We take care of that?
Downtown gassing, we got beer running
here. You're an amphibia sunglass.
Yeah.
That's what you wear, right?
Yep.
I had a question about that. I'm just asking what brand you wore.
Oh, amphibia.
I imagine that they helped out a little bit there on that bedfish.
They did. They got a great selection of lenses and frames. You know, when you pick out sunglasses, you need to go to a retail store and get fitted, because you want to make sure you don't get a lot of light penetration in off the side on your sight clip. That's the only thing I recommend. Try different frames and stuff. Try to do it where it does not. You don't get them out.
Do you know what color lens you got off the top of your head?
These are mirrored amber. I forgot what the exact name is. They're amber on the inside, as you can see from here, but they're chrome blue mirrors. See the amber? I always wear amber. And I've got several different lenses. I've got straight amber. I've got amber with a chrome mirror. But everything is always amber. For whatever reason, with my eyes, the amber makes anything green pop. So, like if I'm looking for bedfish, or just that. So for some reason, It makes the contrast really nice. I pick them up. To me, sight fishing is kind of like deer hunting. A lot of people sit there and look for the whole deer. What actually clued me into those fish back there is that fish had a big old black spot on his tail. That's kind of
There were a couple of times there without sunglasses on, I could see her. I am curious. I'm curious if anybody actually saw her.
Oh, excuse me, while I was so rudely interrupted.
Not bad.
Spicy beaver.
Get a look at what you got rigged up.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. It's Hayabusa, FPP straight shank, 5/16 leak tungsten, green pumpkin, reaction innovation, spicy beef. Got a tipped up shark fish, nothing fancy. Basic bass fishing 101. A little more frisky now. Mama likes it when you turn the heat on. Wait a minute, we got here this morning. God,
All right, here's a line question. Do you think the fish are line sensitive this time of year? When they are up shallow, do you downsize your line at all?
you know, I'm very fortunate for that. I'm sponsored by Jim. And this line that I'm actually flipping is right here, a 16-pound game of eggs. And yes, I think when fish are pressured, I think line size, line color, line diameter, all that stuff matters. That's just my opinion. I got a general rule is I only fish braided line when I have to. And 99% of the time, that's either I'm fishing some kind of dense vegetation. The only other application I hardly ever use is braid. All spinning rod applications, fishing super deep. That's just 8-10 pound braid with full heart bait. And the bite rate's going down. I think you get more bites if you don't fish full heart. And if you don't fish, our fish are getting more and more pressure. All around, every lake in the country is getting more pressure. And the biggest thing that I've noticed, it seems like you got to be a little more thorough in how you fish, and then you got to slow down a little bit. Especially if you're beating the bite. You know, if you're fishing offshore stuff and maybe you got stuff found that you can kind of control and it's not getting a lot of pressure, that'll allow you to beaver bit him on the nose.
There we go.
For all of you that haven't thrown these yet, they're hot. You need to. Really, you don't.
You want to keep fishing.
Yeah.
You want to keep catching them. All right. Do you run your sonar on standby or turn the sonar off when flipping or fishing shallow?
You know, I've got it on today. I literally, it just depends. If I'm in an area with a lot of boats, the fish have got getting pressure, I will fish without it. I've always got my Lake Master mapping on. There are times that I'll shut the sonar pinions down. When I'm searching for fish, like if we're golfing, practicing for a big national tournament, I'm in a new area, I'm running it because I'm trying to learn the details of what's going on under the water. I use my 360, I use my sonar, but you know, I fished where we're at today. I've made a few casts here, so I don't use it a lot. These poor old fish on this lake get absolutely beat on to death. So, the ability to be quiet, be stealthy in your approach is going to get you more bites.
So what knot have you got, and what ounce weight have you got on this spicy beaver?
I'll go over that when we finish up, but I'll tell you, I'll show you what knot I've got. It's an old school goofy knot. All it is actually just a double clinch knot. Fluorocarbon, it's unbelievable how it works. And then I want to say this is a 5/16. I'll lay out like 5 or 6 flipping sticks if I'm going to flip it just like we are today. And I'll have one 3/16 or an 1/8 and a quarter, and some will be pegged, some won't, because it's amazing. To me, the thing that's most important flipping and pitching anymore is trying to figure out what fall rate they're getting. There's days they don't want that thing going by with 100 miles an hour, and then there's days, you know, it's like a crankbait bite. That thing's got to be heavy and hauling britches just to get them to react to it. There are so many little subtle details about flipping and pitching. That's the reason why it's been so successful on the national tournament trails and stuff, is because of this versatility. And the guy can tell you, well, I call it flipping and pitching. Yeah, but that covers, that's a big broad stroke when a guy says I call it flipping and pitching. God, did you see that?
I was too busy ducking.
That joker had it out here, and I'm thinking my line's up over that limb. Professional angler. Just got over that one limb and it boogered me up.
Your question, I noticed he's staying back in the pockets. Is it a waste of time fishing out on the main channel?
If I was spider bass fishing this time of year, I'd be out on the main river. But I'm not. I mean, most of these largemouth in the Coosa right now are revolving something around the spawning cycle. When they're spawning, you know, long spawn, pre, whatever the spawn cycle they're in. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's the middle of April on the Coosa River. Fish are spawning.
Got another question of, do you prefer the peg weight or Texas style?
I actually like an unpegged weight if I can get away with it. If I don't have to peg, I won't. Just like the fall, like the way the bait kind of runs behind that weight. More so than a peg. This particular setup happens to be pegged.
Every time I use fluorocarbon, it coils up so bad. How can I fix that?
Well, what manufacturer is it? It's probably the way you are spooning it on. I can, if y'all want me to, I can do, show you. I got line in the boat. I can do. I can go over that. When we get through, when we do a wrap up, I'll do that. If you don't put fluorocarbon line on the reel correctly, it becomes slinky and it's hard to deal with. And a lot of people just don't, maybe haven't been shown the right way. Well, I don't gonna guarantee you mine's the best way, but you can see this line and it's not coiled up.
Well, we won't stop right now. Maybe we can get that in at the end, or question about what advantage does tungsten have over regular lead?
It's all feel. Tungsten is two things. Tungsten, 4 ounce tungsten weight versus a 4 ounce lead weight. The tungsten is substantially smaller, but it's a denser material and it transmits vibration better. So if this thing drags over, tungsten drags over a log or drags over a rock, those vibrations you feel them way better. It's kind of like the difference between mono and fluoro. Monofilament is a lot softer, a lot stretchier line. Does not transmit vibrations very well. The fluorocarbon is not as much stretch, and it transmits vibrations really, really well.
What model reel are you using?
This is 7 to 1 gear ratio. The 100 series reel.
We had a question about thoughts on the Tatula SV. If you used one of those?
I have. It's a good reel.
All right, Justin, I see you have a question I can actually read. How are you going to catch them when the shad starts spawning in that water willow? Sir Matthew, he added Sir Matthew.
Camel guy, too.
He is.
Catch them on black swim jigs, you catch them on frogs, you catch them on bug baits, you can catch them on popper type bait on the edge. I mean, just spinner bait, chatter bait, it's like everything else. It's all process of elimination. If you told me I had to have a couple of baits right off, I'm gonna have probably white swim jig with a skinny dipper on it, like a Reaction Innovation skinny dipper or some kind of spicy beaver. It's gonna be, of course, it's gonna be something white. Key it on shad. The great thing like this time of year, I would like to it's not on just like take a spicy beaver and I can either dip it orange or I can dip it chartreuse or whatever it may be. I think bass are really prone to what I call trigger colors. In their world, if they're going to feed on a bluegill, most of the time, that bluegill's not sitting still. That bluegill's pretty daggone aware that bass is there. So, when he goes to eat it, all he'll see is either tip colors on his fin, like chartreuse, blue, or orange. So they'll say about waving a red flag in front of the bull. They see that flash, and that's what they're feeding on, and it just tricks them. Same thing with, like if I want with crawfish here. A lot of these crawfish will be green pumpkin and they'll have orange. If you look at their claws, they have orange on them. When they're crawling around down in that muddy bottom, a lot of all the fish will see is the orange tips. You tip that thing up orange, and when it moves, it just triggers.
Well, we appreciate you giving us a hard time here today, Justin.
Justin wouldn't miss it for the world.
I would hope there are a lot of folks jumping on to Bass U, binge watching while they're stuck at home right now. That wouldn't be a bad thing to do, I don't think.
I am surprised that I'm not seeing another fish stop. This water has so much flow. It's hard.
You use a hydrowave at all?
I don't. Some guys love them, believe in them. I think in offshore applications, I think it's a useful tool. Grubbing up shallow, I've spent so many years trying to be quiet. You'll notice one of the things, like, you'll notice the way I'm running my trolling motor right now. One of my pet peeves, and one of my things that I think, and I see guys on the tour level do it. They'll raise this trolling motor up about 2 foot high, put it on about 9, and they're off and on. And I can be a half a mile from them in a creek, and I'll hear it every time they hit the button on that trolling motor. Whoosh, whoosh. But at the end of the day, I've been on one side of the bank with certain guys that do that, and I'm on 3 or 4, and I'm constant, and I'm not making any noise, and I cover just as much water as they do, but I didn't spook everything in high heavy. So when you're in here, you know, there's a couple things that flipping and pitching I think is vitally important. Number 1 is trolling motor. Set a constant speed. It's not going to jerk the boat around. And number 2, whether it's you by yourself or you and your partner, be very conscious about staying in one place. Don't walk around. Because every time you move, and this boat does this number right here, it throws a pressure weight to the bank. And those fish feel that. It's just little bitty things that you can do that will equal a lot more bites at the end of the day. And it's not hard to do, it just takes a little thought. I would love to cover about 10 times more water today. You know, literally, I got out here at 10 o'clock. I hadn't been here 8 or 10 days. The conditions totally changed. So I just kind of decided, you know, and I would have done this in a tournament. Pick you out a couple of key areas that you know they live in. Don't get caught running around, because days like today, you're looking at little bitty windows when these fish are going to feed. There'll be a couple hours from 9 to 10 and 1 to 2 that they'll bite. And if you're running around hopscotching all over the the lake, when they decide to bite, you may miss them. So,
10-minute warning.
10-minute warning. How deep is this pocket in here?
Show them the Alabama fish finder, Matt. Show them the Alabama fish finder.
It's about that deep.
Well, guys, we got about 10 minutes. Get your questions in, comments. If you haven't commented, that's all you need to do right now. And later today, we're going to go through and pick some winners.
Now, we're going to do a wrap-up, bud?
I think that's the plan. We're going to do a wrap-up.
Well, you'll be happy to know you broke Wes's record for number of viewers at one time.
What, by at least 3?
Yep. No. By 8 now.
He beat him on fish catches, too.
Yes, he has.
I'm going to catch another. Come down through here, 'cause that's just old flat, shallow, sandy place. Well, that water roller, that's really not water roller, that's trimmer. But this out here, you can see under the water, this old black stuff, that's the roots of what will be water roller. Maybe you see another one up there doing the thing, and I haven't seen it.
Do you use the man bear pig much?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I really like the man bear pig, or that preacher style bait. When the fish kind of get postponed. They're doing something what I call wiggling. There's times when they want them 2 little tails swimming and just. This time of year I try to emulate crawfish and bluegill. I mean, that's just the 2 deals. When they're up here shallow like this in a small mode, I don't necessarily worry about shad much. When they get spawning on their mind, they don't want nothing crawling around, getting on their bed. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to put something down there and aggravate them, make them better.
So what do you like for swim jig trailers?
Oh, God. There's so many. My main 2 go-tos are either a little different or spicy beaver. Spicy beaver that I'm flipping right now moves more water than any other crawl type bait out on the market. If you haven't thrown one, you need to, because it's, I don't know if Michael's camera can get this, but this thing, get it coming at you, Michael. This thing literally, I mean, it'll buzz like a horny toad. There ain't no speed crawl, there ain't no nothing, there ain't none of that. Rage crawl, none of their crawling can need water like that. This thing is absolute poison on swim.
What's the water temp back in here?
62. You got to remember this time, probably first of last week, 10 days ago, the water temperature was over 70. to come up with crappie fishing on the lower end of the lake. One of them spawned last year.
Cute.
Does that one count?
Counts for today.
Hey, I ain't gonna say it.
Yep.
Wouldn't count the tour I'm fishing anyway.
Do any spots spawn in the creeks?
They will, they'll spawn around some of the mouths when you've got gravel bars and stuff. But for the most part, no. They like to sit just off these current seams and on gravel bars and stuff to do their deal. And I tell you, they're really fun. I haven't spot fished here on Neely Henry this year. One thing about a spotted bass, especially a coochie spot, until the river stabilizes, and like this thing's been going up and down and fluctuate, they don't really like to, they won't spawn. Everybody thinks, well, the surface temperature rise, that they're going to spawn. No. These coochie river spots, until this river stabilizes, will not spawn. I'm quite sure right now there's a lot of spotted bass here on this river that have not spawned. Especially on the upper end, there's been so much current and stuff. So they have to spawn up there up in the river. It's not possible.
All right, well, I got two more questions. How much do you use your 360 in these kind of conditions? And at what depth does it kind of become not very useful?
You know, I use a 360, really 3 foot or deeper. You know, when I get up here just in the dirt, I don't use it as much, just simply because there's a lot of areas, even at Neely Henry, that if you get up in there that shallow, you're just going to tear it up. You're going to tear anybody's up. I don't care. If you have forwards looking sonar on your trolling motor, there's a high probability you're going to destroy it. And, you know, these transducers and 360s, I mean, that's a lot of money. The great thing about the 360 is how easy it is to get on and off. Nobody else can do that. I mean, it's a major chore to set up any others because of all the coax and stuff that runs around these shafts. 360, I mean, I just did a video on my Facebook page the other day. You can sit there and watch it. Less than 2 minutes, it was off.
All right, last question. How long do you typically leave a particular bait on prior to switching out? And are there times that you might stay with something even though other anglers may not be using it? Competitors, tournament style?
I'm always trying to find something my competitors aren't using. But as far as like practice, I've got pictures on my Facebook page of spicy beavers. Last year at Gunnersville, I probably got 50 bites. I used a big owner screw and hitchhiker on the top of it. Just sit there with no hook, and I mean, they'll tear it apart. But I don't. As long as that soft plastic bait or jig is not. You know, if a weed guard starts getting warm, it's prone to start wanting to get hung up. And then the same thing with the soft plastic baits. You start getting that thing where it's real soft and tore up, it'll start wanting to get hung, and then that's you just defeat the purpose you want it to. I'll use it as long as they bite. I like them baits that are biting, man. It's good luck baits.
All right.
All right, let's call this a day.
And I did see a comment asking about the Skeeter boat, and I will say we just dropped an update on your FXR, that video that we did. That's on our YouTube channel. So
If you haven't been in an FXR and you're in the market for a boat, you need to go for a demo ride. And Bucks Island take you for one. Depending on what part of the country you're in, most skeeter dealers will hook you up. But do yourself a favor, if you're going to make that kind of investment, get with these folks that's got these boats and go drive an FXR. And you'll leave there going, oh boy.
All right, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
So I know we started out the day and we put you in a gotta flip, gotta teach these guys something about flipping. Turned out to be what you actually caught them on. But the first fish was a bed fish that you decided to work. Talk a little bit about the progression that you went through in your mind on making that fish bite, like what bait changes you were thinking, why you were thinking what you were thinking, and then what does that tell you about what you're going to see in the rest of the area?
Well, the biggest thing I was thinking, I was trying to cycle through these different baits, trying to figure out if I can catch them on a jig. I always want to catch them. I feel like if you're catching them on a soft plastic bait and I'm catching them on a jig, most of the time my fish that I'm going to catch on a jig is going to be larger. On average, they will be bigger. I like the hookup ratio better with a jig versus soft plastic. I don't have to. When you go to trying to pull, that's a 4-aught FPP Hayabusa hook. When you go to trying to pull that through these beavers, just like the one I caught over there, fell like come off in the boat. That thing was wadded up on there, twisted by 8 waves from Sunday. And when they do that, you start running into trouble. But then I was going through. I got one rod rigged up with an 1/8 ounce weight and a man bear pig, creature style bait. I got another one with a 3/16 and just a stock 2. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a bite. What are we doing? Are we suspended up high in the water column? Are we on the bottom? What's the mood of the fish? This is horrible conditions to fish as far as, we had tremendous tornadoes and stuff Sunday. And the last 2 nights has been down in low 30s. Water temperatures fell 10, 12 degrees, and the rivers rose a foot and a half here. Further you go north, it'd probably be 2.5, 3 foot up north. And
and down river it's 3 foot low, 4 foot low.
Yeah, because of Minnesota being here on this coast. So all I can tell anybody is rig up. If you think you're gonna go flipping and pitching tomorrow, don't just rig up 1 or 2 rods. Rig up 5 or 6 rods. I'm lucky enough, and I've got a great rod sponsor, and I can do that. But rig you up something that you can cycle through. And what I'm looking for is rate of fall. A lot of guys, I'm not necessarily worried about the color of the bait. A lot of guys get wrapped up on it. You've seen, I threw black and blue and green pumpkin. It's not the color of the bait. How fast does that bait fall? Let them show you. You'll get a bite or 2, and you start. It's just putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
So you have these 5 rods are all rigged identically. Length, that's the same rod, all 5 of these
all
on this
5
end.
of these are Kistler, Z-Bone, 765s. All
and then
5.
you've got, you said the reel speed, it's between
They're all
7-1, and then you've got, what pound line? Are they all the same pound line?
No, the jigs have 20-pound gamma edge fluorocarbon on them, and then all my plastic rods have 16-pound gamma edge. All of them. They all got a leak, for leak tungstens. My tungsten sponsor and what I've used for years and years, and then Hayabusa hooks.
And so you've got, what weight is on that Spicy Beaver right there?
This one's a 5/16.
Okay, and you said an 1/8 ounce over there on the man bear pig?
Yeah.
Is that so you're looking for just 2 different rates of fall with some action depending on what you're doing there?
Well, the man bear pig has an action of its own. Okay. And when you go to this style bait, the Spicy Beaver, you need a little more weight to pull it to make it do its deal.
Okay.
On the fall, it's a more subtle fall. You put it on 1/8 ounce and it'll move. It swims good, but it's a real slow, subtle fall. And I'm wanting this thing right here. When I tip it up chartreuse like that, I'm trying to simulate bluegill. So I'm wanting that tail to give me a lot of flash as it's falling. That's what I'm after. That was the lesson today. That's what we wanted to do, is just go over the basics of flipping pitching. If I was fishing today, if you were asking me what I was going to do today, if I were going to fish a tournament, I would probably have 4 of those rods laid out. But then I'm going to have probably a 3/8 or a 1/4 ounce double willow spinnerbait. I'm going to have some type of a vibrating jig with like a Reaction Innovations Little Dipper on it. And then I'm going to have a frog. I mean, I could probably work on that bedfish with a frog. But you know, I don't like fooling with bedfish in a tournament with a frog because they come off. And if they don't choke it, you jack them up. I mean, I got lucky that fish, the way she hit it and come off, I never really got a hook in her good enough to do a number on it. And she went right back. So when I seen her wheel go right back, I'm like, this is done deal. Watch this. This ain't gonna take long. But no, it's just river fishing. This is Neely Henry's where I grew up. This is the foundation of my career, and it ain't bad.
No, it's great fishing.
I'm just saying, my foundation has produced almost $2 million in winning in a 17-year career, and I learned the basis of what I know and how I approach national tournaments right here.
So, obviously the bedfish is a completely different deal, but what did you find in here? You caught 3 or 4 fish in here, at 3 fish in here. What did you find? What was the key from once you got that first bite, which was a good one? Second one was a good one.
If I was coming into this pocket, if you'll scan it right now, okay? It's obvious that the right side of this pocket is flat and shallow, and it's obvious that there's more depth on this left bank. And these fish, especially on the river, the way it likes to fluctuate up and down, they're prone, especially when they're spawning, to get on the steeper side and against any tight river. You know, the river over the years doesn't have near the targets. A lot of it's rotted out. There's new stuff comes in every year. And the biggest thing you have to get, I think a lot of guys mess up on, is they'll go down that bank right there and they're just throwing like 3 targets. There's a lot of stuff that's in the water you can't see. So I'm literally trying to feel for targets and stuff and working around. But it's more about keying on where no matter where I've been, Arkansas River, Bull Show, there's so many scenarios I could tell you about where fish spawn in small pockets like this. They always use the channel swing side. Not to say you won't catch them on days. If it's been real stable and real warm and the bottom composition, if it's a good hard bottom and you got like water wheel up through there, little isolated clumps, man, they'll move out there and spawn like crazy. But the consistent deal is always on the channel swing sides where you've got a little depth. That's how they migrate in and out of here. That's their comfort deal, because if this water, if they start filling the bottom end tomorrow and this water falls out of it, that over there is going to be dry.
Yep.
So just use your sonar, pay attention to the bottom. When I'm going through here, I'm looking, is this a hard bottom? Is this a soft, mucky bottom? I'm looking at, and you'd be amazed. Just as much as just going down through there, you're fishing along, and all of a sudden, you start getting bit, and it's 2.1 feet, right? And everything else is 1.4. And there's no time. How many times I've been going out there and finding one little stretch, it's 6 inches deeper than everything around it, and it's money.
So what did when you're seeing those little hard bottom areas, what did your graph show you to say it's hard bottom? Is it the thickness of the band?
Yeah, it's the thickness of the band, but
color?
also I'm not getting any feed out on top. I'm not getting any fuzziness on top. I've got the sensitivity adjusted right. I've got the right kilohertz selected as far as the right beam, and I can see by what's going on that it's a good hard bottom.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of these places, this river was impounded in the 60s. So, got a lot of siltation. A lot of our rivers, we hadn't built any new reservoirs in the United States in a long time.
Right.
So they're all aging. And it's just natural progression. Things are going to silt, and the river changes every year. It just does, and fish. But the one thing it's never, hardly ever changed about a river, or really any lake, There's only one time of the year that a bass does the same thing every year. They go back to where they were born. They go back to where they were born. I don't care. If they've been one spawning on a stump 20 years, next year there's gonna be one on that stump. And it's just that's just the thing that was cool about fishing. I hope that helps y'all. I hope you enjoyed this on Facebook Live, and y'all come up with another topic or something down the road, and we'll get out here and do it again. Because I got a lot of time to social distance. They're really kind of getting too close.
Well, Matt, man, we appreciate you spending some time with us. We obviously love being able to watch your work. And folks, thanks for tuning in to us. Of all of that stuff, all of us here, we're honored that you spent the time with us. Most of the stuff that Matt used today, that he talked about today, we've got at Bucks Island in the loft. And we're always there for any questions that you have to answer. Michael's going to get back, and he's gonna figure out who won some prizes. There's a bunch of them, probably more than we should have for a 2-hour event. But there's a bunch of stuff to give away, and we're going to give away all of it. Thank you to Reaction Innovations, Dirty Jigs, Hayabusa, and then of course Angelo at Bass Boat Concepts. That's really cool of you. Someone's going to get themselves a Skeeter step today that we just became a dealer of because we loved it. But Dave, Josh, and Andre, thank you so much. Kurt at Dirty Jigs and Kurt Dove at Hayabusa, thank you guys all. Matt, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
See you next week. We're going to try to get Scott Canterbury to come out here and do this.
All right.